I'm Patrick, and this is Charlie, and today we're going to be making... You don't want to be in the shot? And today we're going to be... Okay. And today we're going to be making recession-proof coffee recipes. Now, before you start commenting, we actually aren't officially in a recession. Let me just ask you one question. Do you feel good about our financial future? No? Okay, me neither. So let's talk about some ways that you can save some dough without skipping out on your morning joe.
You need to leave!
So we're gonna start out with the most basic ways to just brew filtered coffee and slowly work our way up to the most fancy coffee milkshake the world has ever known. Now, brewing filtered coffee at home is already very affordable, but there's a couple of things we can do to get that cost down even further. The first one is by using a French press. It's literally just a tube with a filter that you press down after the coffee has steeped for about 8 minutes. The great thing about the French press is there's no filters required, so once you buy it, you can pretty much use it indefinitely. The only downsides are cleaning it can be a little bit of a pain. It's a great brewing method, and it even allows you to brew a single cup or multiple cups if you have multiple people with you. Now, one thing that'll elevate just about every home brewing method is a burr grinder. And I've opted for a hand grinder in this scenario because number one, they're incredibly cheap, and it'll allow you to cancel your gym membership. What's that? The census report just came in, and they're saying, Swole City population U? Another great way to save cash when brewing coffee is to switch from paper filters to a metal or a ceramic filter. These are permanent filters that aren't single use. This will save you from having to buy paper filters whenever you run out. Disclosure though, this will definitely change the taste of your coffee a bit because hole in paper is smaller than hole in plastic or metal. Alright, now let's move on to our next type of coffee, which is cold brew. Now, if you're short on both time and money, brewing cold brew at home is a perfect way to save on both. If you've ever looked at home cold brew machines, they can get a little bit expensive. You don't need a fancy cold brew system to be able to brew great cold brew at home. What's great about cold brew is it's super easy to make. It's also stable in the fridge for about 2 weeks. All we have to do is put coffee grounds into our filter and let it sit overnight for about 16 hours. Now, you can use paper filters if you want, but I opted for a reusable filter, which is really just a bag of cloth, and you could probably make one of these at home if you really wanted to. You can brew it in just about anything. So if you wanted to brew a small amount, you could use something like this jar, or you could go for something larger like this pitcher, or if you're feeling a little risky, something even bigger. That's a good batch. Bonus method about brewing in the tub is you save a lot on your water bill. You might be wondering, did I actually waste all that coffee by pouring it into my bathtub? Yes I did. And that wasn't very recession friendly of me. But don't worry, we're gonna save a bunch of money when we brew our espresso. Now, home espresso machines are not cheap. They can cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But we don't need to spend that much to make delicious espresso at home. All we need is an AeroPress. The AeroPress is a super versatile brewer that allows you to make tons of different kinds of coffee. But what we're gonna be doing today is using an extra attachment to create a little bit more pressure so that we can have something that's a little bit closer to espresso. This method is super easy. All we do is add some coffee, pour our water in, let it sit for a bit, stir it, and press it down. One big downside though, it does sound like you are ripping ass. Now that we've made some espresso, what we need next is to be able to froth some milk to create a latte. And there's a super easy and cheap way to do this. All we need to do is heat up our milk, pour it into our French press, and then pulse it up and down a little bit. I don't know what you would call that motion. And voila, we've got a beautiful, delicious, recession-approved latte. Now our last drink is going to be the world famous Okay, I just looked because I was kind of curious, but a caramel frappuccino is like almost $7. Crazy. But don't worry, we can make it for much cheaper than that. And these are much easier to make than you might assume. Now, Starbucks uses a coffee concentrate to make their frappuccinos, so we're gonna make something similar with our espresso from our AeroPress. We'll add that to our pitcher and then add some milk and some flavoring. This is actually a vanilla bean syrup that I made myself. It's really good. All you have to do is add simple syrup, vanilla bean, and a little bit of vanilla flavoring. Super tasty. And then the secret ingredient to making a frappuccino taste like a frappuccino is something you wouldn't expect. And all it is maple syrup. They use this to help everything kind of keep together, sort of like a glue, and it makes for a much more consistent texture throughout as well. Lastly, we have to add our ice. Oh shit, I didn't get ice. Damn it.
A few moments later.
Okay, I got ice. Once we've added everything to our blender, all we need to do is blend it. And it wouldn't be a caramel frappuccino if it didn't look like one, so we gotta go ham with that caramel syrup. And obviously we gotta top this off with some whipped cream and more caramel syrup. That tastes like a caramel frappuccino. Straight up. Way better, actually. It tastes way less artificial. The coffee's better. I think that's a big thing. All right, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you learned some ways to save some cash when making coffee. And if not, then hopefully you enjoyed seeing me in a bathtub full of cold brew. And with that, I will see you Monday.